If your brand is generating 7 figures in revenue, but you don't have a customer win-back flow in place, then you're losing a lot of revenue from customers that you've already paid to acquire. Once you've got one of these dialed in, it makes your scaling so much easier because you can afford to spend more on acquisition, and finally acquisition will stop feeling like you're constantly running on a treadmill and instead will become a lot more predictable. So today we're going to show you how to build one of these customer win-back flows that actually converts. Now, it's important to understand what is it that actually makes these people convert. Well, customers buy in patterns first and foremost. So when that pattern breaks, that's when it starts to cause distance and starts to make people forget about your brand essentially, or forget the feeling of what it was like to have your product. So they might like it, but for whatever reason, their routine slips and they forget to order it, or they just don't order it for whatever reason. And so they don't have your product and then they don't think to reorder it. That's where these win-back flows come in perfectly at the very moment when they're going to become what you would refer to as a churned customer, where they no longer are a customer of your brand, a regular customer. And the win-back flow comes in and reintroduces the brand again without pressure, tries to get them to convert. And again, at very low cost because you're not doing it with ads. But you'll know that it already costs 5 times more, if not more than that, to generate a new customer than it does to resell to an existing one. So this really is a no-brainer. And yet most of the automations that I see from brands, 7, 8-figure companies who either do or don't have this in place, they either don't have it in place, which is the worst thing, or what they have in place is just like a single email or a single SMS or push message to remind them to come back and place their order. Not very convincing, not very emotionally or psychologically driven. And so that's what we're going to cover in the rest of this video now. Okay, so let's talk about the structure of what this win-back flow looks like. So how do you build a clean win-back flow then? The first thing that you want to do is you want to define your churn window because it's different for different brands. So think about your product and think about how long does it take me to use this product? If it's coffee, it might be a month. If it's skincare, it might be 2 months, 3 months. If it's apparel, it might be, I don't know, 2, 4, 6 months, depending on what you buy. If it's a seasonal product, it might be a year. So define what that churn window is. As for when you would expect a customer to place their first order and then their second, what's the time in between that? So once you define that churn window, the next thing you want to do is start adding in emails, SMSs, push messages, whatever suits your brand. And I don't usually start with a massive offer or discount to begin with because I like to try and convert customers without just giving them another offer because they've technically probably already had an offer or two already. So we try and convert them first at full price. So let's say we're doing this for what did I say before, a coffee brand, right? And it's 30 days, their churn window. Go 45 just to be safe. So it's 45 days in total. I'm going to write that up there so I don't forget. 45 days where if the customer doesn't purchase within 45 days, then that is a churned customer. And so they need to then receive this win-back flow. Structure. Okay, so this is the structure. You've got email 1, which is this thing. So here we've got email 1. This is where I usually put some kind of reminder, no discounts, some kind of reminder to buy, a reintroduction of the value and reasons why they purchased. So in this case, for a coffee brand, it's talking about the routine, the feeling, the alertness, perhaps. It really depends on what the main value is for that brand. But think of that value and then reintroduce it and then talk about the things that they likely miss from having that product. So this one's reminder to buy. This one is reintro the value. And then the third, I guess you would put something like create FOMO. So those are some kind of ideas that you use for the first email in this win-back flows. Email 2, what's included in this? So this is where after we've already reminded about their initial product that they purchase, if they don't go for that one, then we try and introduce some other complementary products. So put here comp products. So complementary products, or we can put see what's new, or we can put something like check out what's currently on sale in the sale category. So email 1, you got the reminders to buy, focus on the product that they first ordered. Email 2 is when you're going into different types of products. So you'll see here, we're trying to get people to convert without having to give away discount immediately. I'm running out of space, so I'm going to start changing this up a little bit. So now we're going on to email 3. So this is where we introduce the win-back offer. It can be the same offer as what they've had before, or it can be something completely different. Entirely up to you, but in general, keeping things fresh and new and special is where you're going to see high conversion. So if you can think of a win-back offer rather than just blanket 10%, 20%, then this is where you're going to get people to really convert. And what I would do is I would add some kind of offer where it forces them to try a new product. So it could be a discount on a new product, or it could be get the product that you initially ordered and then get this additional small product for 50% off or something like that, where it's a really good offer to try another part of their brand. And then you're essentially encouraging them to branch out from what they've already ordered from your brand. All right, at this point is where we start introducing SMS. So we've already sent 3 emails, and now we're sending an SMS. So typically this is just a reminder of this discount with a little bit more urgency. So we'll say something like, only a few days left to claim this offer, get XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And then we can add a picture into this as well to make a MMS, which again, usually converts higher, it costs a little bit more, but because these are flows, these don't really trigger that many times and the ROI is there. So check that out, try and see how it converts. Email 4, this is where we get to, again, driving home on the urgency. So we keep this pretty short, to be fair. Usually with these emails, they're a bit more info heavy, but with these ones, we try and keep them poster style, and we just add a timer and we say that this is how long you've got to confirm if you want to take this offer or not. So keep that one really simple, quite urgency focused. And that's it. High quality product images, very little copy, very little persuasion in there, just an urgency reminder. So typically what we do is like a 24 hours remaining to claim this offer type of thing. Okay, the last email in the chain, this is email 5. And I love this email personally because I've seen great results with it. So this email is sent usually a couple of days after the discount has expired, and it's sent plain text from the founder. So it's not another generic kind of design heavy email, and it's not a marketing type email. It's a email from the founder, written from the founder's perspective. So I did this years ago for a chocolate company, and it's one of my most favorite emails to remember back when I was a copywriter. And we did it as, like I say, 2 days after the discount expired. We wrote an email from the founder to that customer saying, hey, just want to say thank you for being a customer. I noticed that we sent you a discount recently, but you didn't use it. Is there anything we can do to improve our products? Along those lines. And then we also added in something like, just in case you missed the email, I've extended the code for another 24, 48 hours, something like that. If you want to use it, here's the code, and then a link to go and buy. This email did really well, and it didn't just convert very well in terms of open clicks and sales, but it got people responding to the email as well, which was gold for us. So the founder would send those emails over to us, and then we can see directly what the customers are talking, what they're saying, to how they're replying to this email, basically. And we got some great responses like, oh, I just didn't see it, or taking a break, or whatever it may be. We got loads of different kind of customer feedback. So again, I preach all the time about how email is not just a channel for you to send discounts and get people to buy from it, but you can also use it. It's like having a big group of people who like your brand and will give you feedback on your company, and will tell you where their head is at in respect to your brand. So these types of emails are gold, and you should be using them throughout. And it's another video that I'll go into in more detail. But this is the structure of a good win-back flow. If you want to add an SMS after this, then you can. I'm not, because I'm out of space. But you can put an SMS after this, maybe like 3 to 6 hours right before that discount code is set to end. It's entirely up to you. But this is how we approach it. So we start at the top with value, lead with the brand value and the reasons why they wanted to buy the product. Don't jump in with the discount, or that's my advice anyway, it's up to you. So we start here with a reminder of why they want to buy it again, a reintroduction to the value of what the product is, what the coffee does, part of your routine, keeps you alert, helps you with your work performance, whatever your unique customer competitor angle is, lean into that. And then you want to build that FOMO. And then email number 2 is when you come in maybe a few days after that, you compare different products. You say you might like these instead. You talk about the new arrivals that you got. You might even talk about what's on sale in your sale category. Maybe you've got some products that are going out of stock. Maybe you've got other things that you're just trying to shift for whatever reason. You want to get rid of them. So you can refer them to your sales section on your website. The third email is then your win back offer. So this is when you put in that special offer, ideally different to your welcome, different to any other flow, so that it's completely new and people don't get bored of a different offer. If it's just blanket 10% in all of your flows, they're not going to convert very well. But if this win back offer encourages people to try new items because they get 50% off this small item when they place an order of the old item that they had, or a different item or whatever, then that's how it's going to pique their interest and keep them keep them wanting to buy, because it's not just the same stuff that they can get from any email. Then there's the SMS that comes into it. So this is again where you're just really talking about the urgency of the offer, expires in 3 days, maybe a picture of what it is that they can get, and just be really direct with it here. And again, the email number 4, which is the urgency reminder, keep it very simple, very little text, just about the fact that this discount is expiring, a timer to say how many days or hours are left, and a CTA to buy now. Keep it very straightforward on that one. And then of course the plain text, which is my favorite. So that is how to structure your customer win-back flow. From that point, once you've got this structure in place, then you can start to branch out and you can add more emails up here, for example. You can branch based on what people have purchased. So if they've purchased from product collection A, then you want to do a collection A focus, and then vice versa for different types of collections, so that when you're following up in these win-back emails, it's very tailored to what they have previously bought. And that's the whole point. You don't want it to be just generic and blanket. The more specific you can get with it, then the better the result is going to be, because the content is tailored towards that customer's choices. Now, a few nuances that you want to include in here. The first thing is, don't include people who have refunded or cancelled the order when they purchase the product way up here. So the initial trigger for this flow is that they've placed an order and then a time has elapsed and they've not placed another order. If those people refunded or cancelled, you want to make sure you have a filter on this flow inside of Klaviyo or your email provider, so that it doesn't trigger to those people who refunded, because this will really piss them off. They weren't happy with the first product, so definitely don't start asking them questions about when they're going to order next, you know. Another thing is to avoid the bulk purchases. If you've got a person who's purchased for 6 months worth of stock, and then you start emailing them after three weeks or something like that, then it just doesn't suit them. They're not going to buy more. It doesn't make any sense. They're going to get irritated. So you need to exclude those people, and you can do that in various different ways. I'm not going to cover it here, but make sure to look out for that. And finally, don't sleep on these plain text emails. 9 times out of 10, these emails actually perform better than design-based, but it's only because we sprinkle them in like Salt Bay. We only sprinkle them in very, very small quantities. And when we do them, we make sure that they're really hard-hitting and impactful and personal as well. So they drive a lot of connection sometimes. So don't sleep on those, make sure you use them. And one more thing, this isn't a proven strategy for every brand on the planet. You want to make sure that if you follow this structure, great, but you do split tests and you see, okay, what happens when we change this time delay here in between email 1 and 2, or when we change the content of email 3, when we test a different offer, when we do a plain text versus a design, when we do a 48-hour urgency reminder instead of a 24. Test all of this, because it's never set in stone. It's never right what works for one brand is going to work for the other. You have to test all of it. This is just a skeleton structure for you to get started. Now, there's no doubt that this is a lot of work. Getting it set up to begin with takes a lot of strategy and time to design and build the email, sure, but the real work starts when you start doing the A/B testing. Now, if you want to have us do that for you, then we can come into your business and we can run the split test for you, so that you don't have to worry about this. You can focus on driving your business forward, and we'll worry about the retention on the back end and keeping your customers that you bring to us. So if you want us to build this flow for you, then book a call below and me and you will sit down and talk, and I'll go through your flows personally and see where have you got the opportunities, where do you need to improve, and how could we possibly work together. If that sounds good, book a call below. Besides from that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.